Hello, Intent to Injure, and welcome to the Week 17 podcast. Once again, Eric Zaleski and Austin Revito back with you, bringing you yet another podcast in what has been just a terrific season. We got a great show in store for you today. Starting off with a little Dancing Queen to open us up by ABBA, which appears to be a fan favorite in the room today. We actually have two guests with us present today. One will be the main focal point of the show, and with the song still playing, why not welcome him in? After all, this was his suggestion. At this time, we would like to welcome in the Mayonnaise and Instrument owner, Mr. Brent Mansfield. Brent?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
The set is awful. We did not account for guests walking in.
It's all right. I'm here. I'm ready to go. A little bit, not like a little bit of ABBA during the day, huh?
And he's really enjoying it.
Wait, get to the next floor.
You are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17.
17, yeah.
Dancing queen, feel the beat from the tambourine, oh yeah.
The Jonathan Quickies owner, Sam Mendelson.
You can dance.
Matthew Bazzini.
You can jive, having the time of your life. Ooh,
The Trudels.
See that girl.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
So a little music video to open everybody up. So welcome in once again the Week 17 podcast. A lot that we have to get to, as usual. Of course, if you watched last week's podcast, you saw that we certainly gave Brent a hard time.
You ain't kidding.
There's been a lot of talk, around the league in regards to Brent's antics, and specific some of the trades, the trade offers, the abundant trade proposals that have been sent around the league. I know a lot of guys haven't been happy about it.
Well, it's too damn bad.
But I mean, of course, we bashed you.
Yeah, I'm here to.
We mentioned that you should get a chance for kind of a rebuttal,
and
here you are. You drove all the way out. I mean, where were you coming from today?
Penn State, Greater Allegheny, man.
So how far was the drive out here?
Whew. Yeah, I got here in about 40 minutes. That wasn't too bad.
So
what? 30? Right. It says it's going to take about 45 minutes. So got about 5 minutes off.
So a long drive just so you could be here. We obviously appreciate you taking
thanks for having
the
me
time
on,
out of your day. We know that you're a loyal listener to the podcast. You said you were probably the only person who watched the entire hour and 10 minutes of the podcast last week.
I did.
It's for people like you why we take the time out of our lives to do the podcast, and we certainly appreciate you listening. But now we want to get your thoughts. You've heard everybody else on this podcast. Certainly, Revito and I, we talk plenty. We kind of wanted to get your kind of your thoughts so far on the season. But let's start off first with, I'll let you kind of defend yourself here. So, in regards to all the trade proposals sent out there, obviously you've been very active in that regard.
Very successful, but.
So just your thoughts in general on the way things have been going.
Here are my thoughts. Now, most of the trades that I've proposed are to teams that are clearly out of the race. Why wouldn't you just trade? You're 4-13, okay? You're not making the play. You're not going anywhere, all right? Your season's over. Pack it in. Your minor leaguers are up here. Nothing going on. All right. Me, I am in the middle of a fight for the playoffs, okay?
Of course.
I know. And I don't want to call it anyone specific.
Debatable.
It's not debatable. But now it's debatable after 2 straight losses because people can't make damn trades. I have made trades, and I've gotten trust me, I've gotten shafted on the majority of them, especially that Ovechkin trade. Jeez, oh man. Taylor Hall, you suck.
He's out for the season.
Good. He deserves that.
Why don't you trade him?
What?
He did, didn't he?
I did. He's not there anymore. Yeah.
I believe Robbie Wright, the recipient of that one.
Yeah. Speaking of Robbie Wright, my God, it's like trying to make a trade with that kid's like trying to. I don't even know how to even explain. But I mean, he's an example. What is he? His season's done.
Let's see. I think he just got his 5th win of the season.
Oh, good for him. That's gonna go far.
I mean. Let's see here. So yeah, he's 5-12 after a big upset win actually over Blake Wheeler last week.
Well, that helped me. Well, thank you, Robbie, for that. But nonetheless, I mean, he did trade me Corey Crawford for Taylor Hall. I got Corey Crawford for Taylor Hall. and Luongo. So that trade wasn't not too bad on my part there, knowing that Hall's out for the season now.
It is true.
And my boy Lou, it was hard to let him go. We've had a great season together, and you know what? We're gonna see him in April. We're gonna see him and the Florida Cats in April, and they're gonna be fighting for the cup. And you know what? Honestly, they're a team that I could see being a cup contender.
You look at you. You can't even say that with a straight face because you know that there's like a 2% chance to make the playoffs.
It's not. They're only 5.
And if they make the
points
playoffs,
out.
there is no chance they're contending for a cup.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, what have you seen this year out of them that makes you believe that team's a true cup?
Well,
contender?
look who they got in the crease. One of the most elite
outside of
goalies in the
Luongo,
world.
who's been mediocre at best this season.
Aaron Ekblad.
You're talking about the Panthers right now?
Yeah.
He thinks they're going to be
This
a cup
is a
contender.
joke.
Oh, get out of here.
You're so full
The
of
Florida
shit.
Panthers, if they make the playoffs, which they probably will, I would put money on them that they make it to the conference finals at least. And I know I'm saying that with a straight face.
Well, yeah.
Luongo's proven that he can steal games. He's done it in the playoffs before. You got a nice core forwards there. Their defense is going to probably be one of the best defensive, what's the word I'm looking for? Defensive-minded teams. You got Ekblad back there. They're a good team, and I don't know why everyone's laughing because
they do have a good defense.
Yeah, they're only like five
They're
points
built
out.
opposite of the Penguins, and we see how that's working out currently. So they're built from the goal out. Penguins are kind of built from center down.
Yeah, but you say that with a win tomorrow night, the Pens lead the division. So it's like, well, maybe
we'll all sit here and just bitch.
You got to beat.
Well, the
Detroit,
one thing
though.
I like about you, Brent, is you do make these outlandish statements, but you're also not afraid to put your money where your mouth is. You've done that before, and you've actually had more success than I would have given to you. This even dates back to you every year. You'll put money on the Pirates making the playoffs, and that's.
I mean, if you're
that's
gonna do
come
that
to
bet
pass the
again,
last couple
hey,
years.
you know what? I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
8 more days, they're hitting the diamond.
And
The boys,
that's a
the
discussion.
boys of summer hitting the diamond.
And that's the discussion.
Coming
we're
to
gonna have
a ballpark near you.
Now, there a lot of backlash regarding our most recent trade.
Yeah.
In which you traded Carey Price for the
did.
likes of Brock Nelson, TJ Brody, and Michael Hutchinson. Maybe talk about that trade this year. I also did want to make a point, and this actually, I didn't realize this till the other day where I was kind of playing all of our trades this year through my head. Listen to the guys that you've given up to me this year.
I know.
Alex Ovechkin.
I know.
Pekka Rinne, Carey Price, PK Subban. I mean,
That's an all-star
Are
squad.
you guys like in cahoots?
No,
that's the thing is we're not.
It's collusion.
well,
This is
listen.
collusion if I've ever
Listen.
seen
Let me
collusion.
listen. We made that Ovechkin Hall trade. What, like week 3, 2, 3?
It was early on. Yeah.
Okay, at that point, Taylor Hall had about already 8 or 9 goals. He was on fire.
Yeah.
He really was. I mean, he might have had about 5 goals since that trade, and that's not
Yeah.
exaggeration.
And he's been banged up.
He's been-
also.
yeah, he
He's
has.
had some bad luck this year.
He's hot garbage
Yeah,
currently. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's at the time Ovechkin obviously had some goals, but he hasn't put up a season like this in 3 years.
Yeah, usually like last year he was like a minus $1 million.
Yeah.
So
He had 50 goals.
So
He did have 50.
So obviously I'm like, I don't really want to give up Ovechkin, but the way Taylor Hall's playing, and of course I'm going to get Price.
Pricey boo.
And Rinne obviously has had injury problems too. So I did of course, this past year. So I didn't know that the Predators were still going to be the number 1 team in the NHL in mid-February. So I figured it's not a bad trade, and obviously it's turned out to be a bad trade. And what are you going to do now? But Ovechkin 33 goals later. Taylor Hall sucks.
Louis
Oilers
Eriksson
suck.
in
You
that
suck,
trade.
Oilers. You really do.
Louis
Oh my
Eriksson in
God.
that trade.
What is
Louis
wrong-
Eriksson,
What is
my
wrong
God.
with the Oilers?
I don't know.
Well, there's
They're-
been a lot wrong for a long time with that team.
They've quit.
I mean, it's pretty bad when the Maple Leafs beat you 5-0. 5-1, I'm sorry. Oh my God, jeez.
But yeah, in regards to our most recent trade, the 3-1. I haven't been keeping tabs necessarily on how that's been going. I knew right out of the gate things weren't going so well for you, but I'm pretty sure that the players have kind of started responding now.
Yeah,
there's a little adjustment period there with new
we've
teams.
had a lot of talk about this trade. I didn't really, obviously I didn't want to trade Price. Obviously, not,
But this was your trade proposal.
It was.
You sent out
It
there.
was because I figured. Look, you know what? My team just lost the week prior. Obviously I'm not winning every week with Price as my goalie. Well, I don't remember.
Wait, when was this price trade?
2 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Hutchinson at the time had like a better save
Yeah.
percentage. He had won like 14 out of
Listen.
20 games. And then you're getting T.J. Brody, who's a top 10 in scoring.
Top 10 scoring, and then
and
Brock Nelson,
who's
who
had a nice year.
yeah,
So,
Who's now on the waiver wire?
yeah,
Yeah.
is he? No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
You still have Nelson.
yeah. I still have Nelson. You mean in the NHL? No, you don't mean in the NHL.
Click on players. Who's
Brent
the,
definitely still has
who's
Nelson.
the
I have
number one
Nelson.
player
It was
available?
Strome.
I have no.
That's
I
who you
picked
were
up
saying.
Strom. I picked
And
up
you
Brian
picked him up
Strom.
today. Yeah, Nelson's not on here.
No, I wouldn't. Why would I?
Is
not?
Franz Nielsen?
Nielsen, yeah.
Okay, I knew
Okay.
I saw something close to that like this
Yeah.
morning. All right.
Yeah. No, I picked up Brian Strom. Yeah, I mean they're playing they're basically playing like
Yeah, I was gonna say they're playing.
they're playing the
Shaw
school
Panthers.
of the blind tonight. So
School of the Blind.
so
Giving no credit to those that are blind.
well, I respect everyone that's blind. I'm colorblind myself, so
Colorblind in terms of like you don't
Color-
see like black and white.
No,
You're
I
not
see
racist,
color.
Or like you're
I never
actually-
said I'm not racist. What I said was that I'm colorblind and I see color. I just can't tell what
And
color.
we
some
apologize to
colors
our
are.
sponsors in advance for anything that Brent says here because he might go off off the tracks a little bit.
I'm not. No,
Um,
I'm
we-
not.
we
hands
also
up.
never.
We're getting on- we're
I
getting-
never gave him a fair introduction of our jerseys. Of course,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you couldn't decide what
I couldn't
jersey to wear. You
decide.
brought over two.
Yeah.
Of course, you decided to stay with your Habs. I think
I
a
had
smart
to.
choice. And you
Yeah.
I
flipped
think
me
it's a good choice.
Yeah.
he
thanks.
flipped me the Jets jersey.
That's
which
nice.
That is like the Jets have a cooler logo than I thought.
They
Yeah.
do. I mean, I got that
Man.
jersey. I'm like, wow, that's a nice jersey.
and you said $45 a pro image over
Pro
the
Image
wall?
Sports.
That's a
Yeah,
steal.
I know.
And so you just walked in, you saw the Jets
No, I
jersey.
didn't. I told a certain someone to give it to me for Christmas,
Santa.
and the big guy gave it to me. Yeah,
The Jet. So you asked for a Jets jersey for Christmas.
I
To
did.
confirm.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
He popped down the chimney with the little.
And
Jets
everyone's
jersey.
enjoying it. It's
It is a nice jersey.
it's fruits. It's fruits are bearing. Yes.
So did you wear this to school today?
I did.
You wore the Jet jersey to
Yes,
class.
I did.
And what kind of response did that yield from your fellow classmates?
Well, the one class I'm in, everyone's basically has no personality. So
Everybody's been in a class like that.
It's just everyone just like sits and stares and says, "Oh, this is grand." But no, I got a couple compliments on the jersey. Couple, little looks, second looks. And I said, what the hell are you looking at? But I didn't say that, obviously. But I was thinking that. But I said, yeah, they're looking at my nice Jets jersey.
That
I
peg
can't
jersey.
blame them. It's beautiful.
Now,
Speaking of Evander Kane, anyway, how about that guy? Jeez, oh man, he might be coming to the Pens.
Well, now it sounds like he's out for
not-
the year
yeah.
now.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
right,
I
he
don't
is out
expect
for
that
the year.
update. Yeah, so
Oh,
those
man.
trade talks ended
He took
abruptly.
that surgery. Yeah.
Yeah.
But staying on the theme of the Jets here, and we're going to jump to your matchup this week. You actually played the man to your left, Mr. Austin Revito.
I did, yeah.
Brian Little, he was your top scorer in Week 17. He's been very consistent for you all year. He had 21.8 points in this past week. And kind of just looking at his stats this year, in 55 games, 21 goals, 23 assists, a plus 10, 106 shots on goal. I mean, what else can you say about the Jets center?
I mean, see when I drafted him, I think it was like the 6th or 7th round. That might be one of the steals of the
13th
the
round.
13th round.
Wow.
So-
Yeah, Brian Little.
He's had a good year.
I've kept him in mind. Ever since him starting down with the Atlanta Thrashers, he's put up some good numbers, and obviously taking a look at my photo there.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get at.
No,
I had to look at that all week. Can you give a quick explanation as to we Googled
Yeah, you probably
is
saw it on the
mayonnaise
last
an
week.
instrument?
Right, yeah.
I said I bet this is going to be a SpongeBob thing because you once did the barnacle.
Yeah, the
thing.
barnacle quote, if you can remember that.
yeah,
Once
last
was an
year.
ugly
That was,
barnacle.
Do you
It was
remember how
so
that goes?
ugly it
yeah,
died.
yeah.
That's it.
Well, it was a SpongeBob. It was the episode where SpongeBob he had a bad stench to him. Okay.
He smelled.
Yes, he smelled. Yes. So everyone did not want to be around SpongeBob, obviously. So everyone was like, when SpongeBob came around in their vicinity. So SpongeBob thought he was ugly. Okay, instead of
Smelly.
instead of smelly, right?
Okay.
So Patrick obviously was trying to cheer SpongeBob up and told him this story that once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everybody died. The end. And that was it. And obviously,
This is a show for kids. Like it's like weird how this is. It's a very
if you-
morbid television show.
If you YouTube like SpongeBob, it shows you like the 10 like adult like jokes that are in SpongeBob that you just didn't catch when you're
Younger, yeah.
10 years
they
old.
make phallic references
Oh, yeah.
in that show a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I get a text this week, and I'm sitting over at work, and you texted me, asked me if I wanted to see Sponge Out of Water.
Yeah.
Can you explain
To
that?
which I
Yeah.
replied, what the fuck is that? 'Cause I really didn't know.
I knew what it was when he
Yeah.
mentioned it, just because...
But you said the SpongeBob movie. Now, did you end up going to see the movie?
I did see the SpongeBob movie, the premiere in 3D. I did see it.
3D.
How was it?
Yeah. Well, if you're obviously, I don't think anyone's gonna go see it, and I'm the only one that
I mean,
probably
I'll
will go
probably
see
end
it.
up seeing it.
Will you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll go again to see it if you want to see it.
I don't mind animated movies.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know what? Don't pay the extra couple bucks to see it in 3D because it's not worth it. It's not like you get any of those effects where everything like jumps up in your face.
Okay.
So you were a little
but,
disappointed.
I wasn't disappointed in the movie itself, just in
Just the
3D
3D,
effects.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is the premise? I mean, is he out of water now? Or I mean, obviously,
Well, it's about an hour and a half movie.
Without trying to give everything away.
right?
It's about an hour and a half movie, and he's out of water for I'd say about 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not like it's this big thing. I mean, there's some good jokes in there, that.
But it wasn't.
You have to think, like, process it for a couple seconds after they say it to get it. But
because they have to keep the parents entertained, who take their kids, so they have to throw in those jokes every once in a while that
yeah.
the kid right over the kid's head. And
But
parents,
the parents,
oh,
if they think about it for a
yeah.
second or two, will catch it.
oh,
yeah.
they're referencing like Hitler or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which always seems to happen. They always reference
or
like,
ISIS
fascist
or ISIS or
communist
something.
leaders. Yeah.
So let's jump into your
Yeah.
matchup now. We'll start
Okay.
with this one
Yeah.
from Week 17. We mentioned Brian Little was your top scorer. Unfortunately, didn't get you enough to get the victory as Giordano Hart 2015 wins yet another game, his fifth in a row. The final score in this one, 130.9 to 114.6. Is Mayonnaise an Instrument drops their third straight, now down to 7-10 after once being at a
Near 500.
a nice
No,
Seven
out
and
of
seven.
500.
You were
yeah.
at 500?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, things haven't gone your way the last few weeks.
He hit the two very good teams in a row, though. So I hope maybe he'll come back on the uptick this week.
Right, yeah, your last two losses against
They were
14-3 and against he's like 10-7. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, you hope
But,
to win, but yeah.
looking over the matchup here, I'll let you both kind of comment on this, and I'll actually move the computer over to you guys here so you guys can take a closer look, and I'll just kind of let you two comment on your matchup here.
I mean, Pavelski is just an animal.
Yeah.
He really is, and he's.
He's unreal.
I think I saw this morning.
you
He's got
know-
like 28 goals,
Yeah,
22.
he was,
I mean,
like,
he's just like.
Over 60 points. Yeah, he's.
And we also
I
saw.
mean, he's on. Who's he on the power play with? You got Brent Birds up there at top.
We saw what I call the Gior, because that's your abbreviation, the Gior trifecta last night.
We did. We had a Brent Burns
from
goal
Pavelski
and Couture.
and Couture, yeah,
And
and which killed Mendelsohn.
I scrolled down and saw that, and I was like, well, I have enough points. On one goal. It was a defenseman scoring with two helpers.
I call that the Gior
The
trifecta.
Geo trifecta.
I mean, it's the San Jose Sharks. That's basically San Jose Sharks team right there,
Yeah.
summed up in
Minus
three players.
Marlowe.
Yeah,
That's it,
He's
yeah.
not even having that great a year though.
Neither is, and you have him, Joe Thornton. He's
Joe's actually he's having a pretty decent year. I
he's
mean,
had-
obviously he has like
he's high in the assist column as he always is.
Always,
Yeah.
The issue with him is you never get enough goals, so that's a little
yeah.
disappointing.
I
You'd like
know.
to see a little more. In that
I mean, I
department.
think he has about 10, 11 goals, so which is honestly too bad for him. This some years he
this
has
point,
like
yeah.
9 goals and like 60 assists.
right.
But I mean, looking at Ravita's team here, it's like I don't know what else to say. Callahan, he's having a good year. I tried to get Callahan off him in a prior trade, and he just wouldn't bite for it.
Yeah, Ravito has not been open to making any trades
No.
this year, and we've talked about it before. The school of thought is he's now 14-3. Why change things up? He's had a lot of success really from week one, and hasn't looked back. So hard to blame him for not making a trade.
There's been some pressure applied. Brent applied a little bit of, he was going after
Elliott.
a couple Elliott. He
And
couldn't.
Callahan.
And I think Taylor Hall was included in that trade, so I'm pretty glad I didn't do that. I remember Stasny was also, and somebody else.
I
If I looked at your roster, I could probably remember.
think it's Bernier.
Bernier was your late throw-in, who I vomited when I saw the name.
No, Bernier. Obviously, I have now stooped to the level that I had to get rid of Bernier. Honestly, the thing about Bernier though is he's not that bad.
No, he's a good goalie.
He's a good
plays on
goalie. It's just
shitty
the
team.
Leafs just cannot score. Just can't. The only team they can score against is the Oilers.
I mean, they lost 13 straight games.
And in fantasy,
That's
I
fucking believable.
know.
in fantasy, a goalie's more or less useless if his team
Can't get wins.
Right.
That's really what it comes down
there's
to.
times where it was a couple weeks ago. He made 42 saves against the Blues and lost 2-0. It's like
and you're getting.
I'm watching that game. I'm
you're
like,
getting
right
2
there.
points out of that.
Yeah.
42 saves against the Blues.
He's
That's
getting
unbelievable.
that's against Arizona.
He got what? 2
Arizona.
points.
Oh, he
2
made
points?
30 against. Oh, gave up 3. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
42.
42 saves and on 45 shots and
Gets
1.2.
1.2. Yep. So
Against the Coyotes, who Mike Smith can't.
The-
Well, except for last night,
They
he
might
can't
be the
stop.
worst. They are one of the. See, like it's understood that Edmonton and Buffalo are going to be bad because like their players just don't have talent. But it's like, oof, the Coyotes, Christ.
They might be the worst team to watch in hockey.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I mean, when Antoine Vermette's your first line center, my God.
you know
That's
what?
hard to
They
watch.
won
Yeah.
last night on a rigged game on NBC Sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Rigged
saw
game.
against
I watched
the-
that, yeah.
against the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Puck goes in overtime for the Blackhawks win, and they just turn their head the other way and say
The puck has to completely cross the. You have to see white
But that's
between
the
the
problem.
goal line and the puck.
So that's the problem. You didn't see white, but you also saw the complete puck crossing the goal line, and there was just the little bit like it was like fully cross, and then there was red on the other side, but literally, it was cross the line, like the full puck was crossed.
see it.
I'd say
So,
about 98% of the puck was crossing.
I didn't see it. So I don't have a comment
But
on
you
this.
have the rule does state though, word for it, that you have to see the whole puck cross the
There
line.
you go.
Well, let me say
There you
this, and we always talk about rigged games on NBC Sports. We knew last night going in that one way or another that game was going to get to overtime. If the Coyotes have a similar play where the puck may or may not cross the
That's
line,
in the net.
that's a goal 100 out of 100 times. If it's the Yotes, on the other hand, the fact that it was
That's why
I
I
don't
didn't see
think.
rig.
I don't. Do you really think that they're gonna rig a Coyotes Blackhawks?
Yeah.
on national TV, yeah.
I don't know.
Those are
That's
the ones
why
that
I
get the
don't-
most money.
I
How
don't-
How else do you think the Coyotes managed to beat the Blackhawks last night?
That's what
I mean, it's the
understand is
NHL. You have a
when,
chance to beat.
I'm lifting with
any
Boss,
team anyway.
and we get from a well-known participant in the betting. We get a bet on the Blackhawks, and I was like, that's not right. I don't like. I knew that they were on prime time, and I was like, well, that's weird because I know that's a national TV game.
And odds
That's
are
a-
it's going to be rigged.
That's not the best bet I've ever seen, but yeah, that was. I mean, for a minute amount. Granted, just to make it interesting to watch, but
right.
And
And
I knew it was on the wrong side at one point. I didn't even know how that game ended until like midnight. I looked and I was like, "Oh wow, the Blackhawks lost to the Coyotes."
Now this is where I'm in with this whole rigging of games and everything.
Hi, Jake. We have another member here. Blake Wheeler has walked in
another one.
after a crushing defeat this week. After he openly described at lunch that he
Thanks,
did
buddy.
not set his lineup all weekend and
going
lost
on
by
over
5
here?
points. So
Did you forget something?
we have
Nah,
5
I'm not
people
going to
down
Sam's,
here
so
in this
Figured I'd just stop by.
bat cave, and
They have to leave here, huh?
yeah, we have half the league.
Yeah,
Jake's running.
We now have
Jake-
5 members.
Jake has an
know.
errand. He thinks I think he's running up to Sam's Club at some point.
No,
here.
he is not.
I don't think
Here's
I
the
am.
update.
Oh, he's been relieved of his duty.
Yeah.
That's
I
nice.
got the pass for the day, so I figured I'd
Okay,
go
well
down.
that's good. We will have you actually chime in on your matchup here in just a little bit. But let's jump over now.
Well, I got to make one more comment about this.
Go-
Speaking of rigged games.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. So I see. Okay, you're talking about the Super Bowl. How obviously it's there's something going on there. I completely agree with that. But to rig hockey is a lot harder.
It's the hardest sport
Yeah, it is.
too because you can't put the points on the board as a referee.
Like you can in basketball, with a foul.
You can in football.
You can throw flags.
Like,
in football.
it-
I mean, baseball's kind of difficult too, but like the strike zone's so arbitrary that like, what do you can't once you call it a strike or a ball, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But there with instant replay now in baseball, it's hard to say
yeah.
he's safe, but when he was
Foul
out, sort of
fair,
thing,
yeah.
foul fair.
Yeah.
But hockey's tough.
Just like last night, like I said before, Mike Smith, who's having an awful year by all means, and then he comes up and probably has the best game of the year. It's against the Blackhawks.
Probably the
Just
best
say-
offensive team in
just
the
say-
league.
I mean,
Just
a
say it
point-
raises a few eyebrows. That's all.
It does, but to make a point blank glove save on Marion Hossa, who scored on him twice in that game.
Hosa had 2 last night?
Yeah.
He scored the last 4 for the Blackhawks.
Finally, somebody that's on my team actually doing something.
And actually, I got a text from Brent that if Hosa were to complete the hat trick, that he would quote unquote eat a mouse. And the funniest part about that is,
oh my!
is the Blackhawks get a power play in overtime, and Hosa is out there for literally 3.5 straight minutes.
Yeah, he was.
He just didn't
He had
get
some
off
good
the ice.
chance.
And
He had some good chances.
Meadows and I watching the game, we were cracking up because Hosa was all over the place. I'm like, he's going to have to eat a mouse tomorrow on the podcast.
Eating a mouse. What? I don't.
I mean, obviously, I said something like ridiculous, and when Hosa, like they even switched. Tays even had a line change. I think Kane went off,
and literally,
and Hosa just stayed out there. And I was like, oh boy! And then there was that one where he was like on a 2-on-1, with Tays. And
you had the feeling that Hosa was going to get
another.
At some point, I was like, I really want him to score, but I really don't want him to score. He already had a decent,
You'll take
game. But if he had a hat trick and a game-winning goal in the same, that's some not good numbers there.
And you would have eaten the mouse.
And I would have had to eat a mouse.
And I'm going to try to get you to continue to make bets like that, because one of these times are going to cost you, and that would be great for our podcast.
You're eating a mouse.
Okay, we should do this. With the Panthers making the playoffs and everything, we should. I know we already have a bet on it, but we can do a.
You want to take it a step further?
A physical bet, yes.
Which entails,
there's no way I can't let you do that. I'm not gonna.
They're 5 points out right now.
You're not gonna.
No, this would be something that you. Okay, if you really don't think the Panthers are going to make the playoffs. You have to make it. Wait, something you will do if the Panthers make the playoffs. You have to do something.
All right, I'm willing to do this.
Okay.
They get 2,000 fans a game. The NHL.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
The NHL is not letting them get into the playoffs. It's a big waste of money.
You have to understand that other things
they get 8,000 anyway, not 2,000.
He was at the game.
I was just there last week.
Okay, they got 8,000, not 2,000.
No,
they regular numbers, like everything else in the world.
I'm sure tickets sold, but people can't sell them because no one wants to go. There was less than 2,500 there.
I'd go.
We know you
could probably pay $5.
Do we want to wager? Do we want to wager a mouse?
I do want to do a mouse.
How do you? I'm not watching someone eat a mouse.
No. That's not one I can hold. God forbid, like Luongo starts like really shutting things down.
Like what the like?
I'm not eating a mouse.
We should have to do like a fear factor.
Like you're threatening rabies. Like it's not even like there's no cure for rabies. Like if you get it, you die.
Yeah, right? let's just leave it and we'll put some thought into it.
All right.
Because I strongly and firmly believe the Panthers aren't going to make the playoffs.
I firmly believe the Panthers will sneak in there.
So
I mean,
there's already a wager.
5 points out. It's not like
with 30 games to go. I mean, it's can happen. And the Bruins, I mean, they were on a roll, but obviously,
the Bruins have turned.
Obviously, the best goalie in the world. Is that even like a competition anymore? Who the best goalie in the world is? I mean,
who?
Carey Price. My God, it's like not even a competition anymore.
I wouldn't put him in the top 5.
You would have put him in the top 5.
I mean, I would. I mean, I'm speaking logically. I feel like
who's better than Carey Price? Right down.
Dubnyk on Minnesota.
And Dubnyk has been very good.
Dubnyk, oh, get out of here, Dubnyk.
Garth Snow.
Look at his stats.
Garth Snow from
Kenny Reagan.
Blake Wheeler.
Call him Slush.
I don't know. Top 5 goalies in the league right now.
You got Pecorino.
Yeah, number 1.
You can't put him number 1.
I would say Tuukka Rask is number 2.
Oh, you put Rask over Price?
Dubnyk number 3.
I don't. If you take out, if they're not, if
look up Rask's numbers versus Price.
If the Bruins are not playing Montreal, I'll take Rask.
That's ridiculous.
It sounds homer, but I would take Fleury in just like a 1 game kind of thing.
Price is number 6.
And you would know with Fleury, I feel like you know after the first 3 shots because if one goes in, it's just like, well, here we go. But
Fleury has let up a goal in a week.
Yeah, Lundqvist is unreal.
Let's look at the standings here.
Sorry.
Okay.
I meant to pull up the stats.
The standings here. Okay, look at that. Montreal is tied for second in the East, like 4th or 3rd over on the NHL. Do you know what they are in goals for? They're 22nd in goals for.
That's a goaltender being pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. They're number 1 in goals against. Now, if you're tied for second in the conference and you are 22nd in goals, then I don't know what's going on. I think it has to do something with the goalie.
Well, I pulled up the stats here for you if you want to take a look. Pecorino leading the league in goals against average, Carey Price leading the league in save percentage, and Rene leading the league in wins. So
Price there, one right behind Rene. He's a point 10th off
No,
for goals against average on Rene, and Pricey is there with the top save percentage.
No, I think the majority of the room's just messing with you. We all agree that.
I mean,
Price
it's
is
hard
right
to
up
say that those aren't the top two goalies. in
Rene
the
and
league.
Price, yeah, are probably the top two.
See now this.
You know what? But you're a guy that never seems to give Fleury the kind of credit that he deserves. Your thoughts on Fleury?
My thoughts on Fleury. Inconsistent. That's my thoughts on
Okay.
Fleury.
That's pretty fair. He's not
Inconsistent.
He's not Geno Smith, but he's also not
Inconsistent.
But at the same time,
Inconsistent and downgrading is my thoughts on
Downgrading?
Downgrading, yeah. He's not the goalie.
What do you mean by
he's not the
You mean
goalie he used to be.
downtrending.
Downgrading. Losing his touch.
I mean, the guy has 8 shutouts this year.
Yeah,
That's
but
not by
shutouts don't
chance.
mean anything. Shutouts don't.
What do
mean
you
that.
mean they don't mean anything?
That's the least important
Of the
stat
4 goalie
of a
stats?
goalie, yes.
I mean, I'll take that.
Shutouts.
But, I mean, he's right up there in wins also. I mean,
How many wins?
wins
does
because he
have?
plays on the Penguins.
and he's a big part of the reason they have success. I mean, they put Grayson the other night. You saw what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole
5-0.
team sucked though.
I got minus
And
2 points.
Okay, well, yeah, exactly. 5-0. He wasn't. Grace could have made 90 saves, shutout, and let one in the.
Yeah,
in
but
the,
you don't think the team lets up a little bit once they get down 3-4-0? You
Right.
think they'd if it's a 1-0 game, the Pens are fighting to the end of that game, trying to tie the game, and they probably do. But once he turns the puck over, Fleury-esque years ago, right to the
that
Canucks
was-
guy, and it goes in. I mean,
That was brutal
My
to
argument:
watch.
if you have a backup goalie and your team's gonna fight 5 times harder that night,
and I tend to agree with that. Yeah,
it's true.
and they'll play a more
They're
conservative
gonna
game.
fight 5 times harder.
but you have to
with the
score
backup
goals
goalie
to win the
and you
game, and the Penguins did not score 1 goal.
And that's understandable.
I mean,
And
you could fight all you want, and I'm not saying the Penguins didn't fight that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you have to score goals to win the game, and they didn't score 1.
And that's fine.
You're not
but,
going to
but
win
now
any
you're
game.
making a case for shutouts, whereas it didn't mean anything when Fleury had 8. So I'm having a hard time agreeing with both sides of your argument here because you're contradicting yourself.
That's
left
not.
and
I'm
right.
not contradicting myself.
I mean, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm saying is, yeah, if you don't score, you don't win, right?
Right.
Okay.
And
That's hard. Yeah,
Okay,
that's-
so
that's
what? So
understood.
Fleury gets a shutout against Edmonton. You win 6. Yeah, like I said, he
They
got
won
it
the game 2-0.
2-0.
was a tight game.
That's because Fost was. If Fost didn't play the way he did, that game would have been 5-6-0, and you know darn well. I think the Oilers had. What?
It's true. I mean, yeah.
I think
He
the
played
Oilers
out
had.
his
I
ass.
think the Oilers had 2 shots in the second period, and the first one came with like 8 minutes left. That's not exaggeration either. And the first was like a flip from center ice, and they're
Do
being.
you think Fleury's a top 10 goal in the NHL?
Yeah, I'd say top 10. Yeah,
Top 8.
Yeah,
You're probably right on the edge.
I'm probably about 8.
yeah.
Probably about 8.
I would
Okay.
say top like 7, 8.
I mean, like
Yeah.
it depends on that's the hard thing is to quantify a goalie because if they're gonna say the best goalie, I mean, I'm gonna take Jonathan Quick every day of the week and twice on Sunday. If the game what's the matter of the game? If it's some random game in February against the Sharks, I
Yeah,
don't
but a
really
great
care about
goalie,
that.
a great goalie shows up for every game. I mean, yeah, he has bad ones here and there, but Quick this year is.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I mean, the Kings very well might not make the playoffs this year.
Right, but if the Kings get into the playoffs, if the Kings get into
I
the
mean,
They'll make
if
it.
the if the Kings make the
at the end of the season, Florida's
Yeah.
gonna fall the fuck off.
Nashville's worst nightmare is going to happen is they're finally going to get this #1 overall seed and play the Kings
Eighth
in the
seed.
first round of the
right.
playoffs.
That's true.
Just kidding. I see them almost getting
And also,
swept.
do it.
and also
Regular
take the
season.
under 4.5.
Yeah, in
one of
every
those games.
game, yeah.
Um,
barring Carter
they're
Hutton.
playoff teams. Put it that way. Teams come to show in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Look at
It's
the
true.
Bengals for the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a different sport, but
Right, but
You-
in,
you can-
it's in the
you
same
can be a
sense.
playoff
And look
team.
at the Giants in baseball. That team just plays
Yeah.
well in the playoffs.
right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, there's teams
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they come
you know,
through in
the
the big
Giant-
moments, and there's others that don't. That's just kind of.
We're fans of a team that
Indicator.
recently is just pukes all over themselves when there's
But,
a big moment.
Let's keep it moving here. We've only done 1 game recap so far, so let's jump to the next game. Of course, we have Sam here, and it was me versus Sam this week. Talking's book service versus the Jonathan
You can come over and
Quickies.
chime in on your
Um,
matchup.
I mean,
Listen,
I'll chime.
I
I'll,
looked.
I'll chime in for you.
I looked at that matchup. I would
Brent, I
say
beat you by 60 points.
Yeah, you cheated.
I looked at that matchup.
The fact that you say I cheated.
You wouldn't make a
makes
damn
me feel
trade.
even better.
Was that game Sunday night?
I wouldn't make a trade because you're,
Well,
you're pulling
this-
guys off the waiver wire and trying to trade them to me.
I'm not.
I
Okay.
see all your guys you try to trade me on the waiver the next week. I mean,
The only one I. The only one. All right, I'll admit it. The only one I did was with Kadri. Okay. But,
putting them in the package.
But at the
Nazem
time-
Kadri.
but at the time I was trying to trade you, Kadri. He had a couple good games in a row. He probably could have gave you a good game.
I
And you-
saw
and
him
you-
on the waivers before you picked him up.
No,
but I purposely
no
didn't pick him
way.
up.
No way. And I wasn't even asking much out of you.
Oh, I wish I would have given you Shattenkirk.
Oh, that's right.
Now that he's hurt.
Freaking hurt.
He's out for the
So
year.
That's what you
Or
get.
close.
That's what you get.
I still beat you by 60 points.
Well, no,
That was
not
my
really.
easiest week all year.
No, it wasn't. I see you
Your
again.
team
I
is
see you
garbage.
again. Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait to beat you again.
All right. You want to make a bet?
A mouse is going to be involved again. Some rodent.
You traded away your whole team.
Some
I'm not worried about you.
Well, I got to do something.
Some consumption
You
of
traded
a rodent.
Ovechkin.
Well, that was like week 2.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I just remember that trade going through Ovechkin and Giroux, and I was like, no matter how
No.
bad those
No,
teams
no, no,
are.
no.
Price.
No, was it Giroux
Separate.
in that trade?
No.
No, Giroux was with Talon and Ben. I
Oh,
gave him
wow.
Foligno and Ribeiro,
No, that's right.
who've actually outscored Giroux.
And they are on their bench because they just don't
They
look
don't
at
set
their
their
lineup.
lineup. Yeah.
Speaking of the Predators, my God, look at. I mean, Ribeiro, a former Hab. I mean, he has.
Why
he
did the
has
Habs
talent.
let him go?
Because he has talent, but he was an ass.
What kind of an ass?
He just didn't get he didn't care half the
Isn't
time.
PK Subban an ass?
No.
Well, all right, we're getting sidetracked here because we
Let's
do
get back onto the matchup.
We need to continue with the matchup here. This was a nail biter. I mean, it literally came down to the last second of the last game on Sunday night. Fortunately for me, I had Mr. Carey Price in net against Boston,
You're
who
welcome.
lets up one goal, gets the win, and I edge out the Jonathan Quickies. A final score 131.9 to 128.1.
It's your ass kicked.
That's all right. I'm still making a play. Turn it off.
I wouldn't say that.
Talkett's Book Service winning their 12th straight game, now up to 14-3, and the Quickies lose down to 10-7. Fortunately for him, Blake Wheeler, who we'll have on here in just a minute, lost, and they stayed neck and neck in the standings.
Pathetic on my part. Real poor management.
Well, we'll let you explain yourself when we get there.
Very poor.
But this was a matchup that we said it came down to literally Sunday, and it was going back and forth. There was a point Sunday afternoon where I literally texted you and said I would rather be in your position 100 times out of 100 because you were up by like 15 at one point on Sunday, and I was like, even if Price plays
Price
tonight,
wasn't supposed to play.
yeah, because
It wasn't
the Canadians
expected.
had a game the day before, and I love
yeah.
that they came back with Price.
Yeah,
You don't see that enough.
they're playing the Bruins. They're going with Price.
Yeah, and I love how the Bruins went with the Rask too.
Yeah.
The day before, that was awesome.
Tokarski hasn't been that great the past couple
No,
times
he
he's
hasn't.
played. No, they're going with Price against the
Yeah.
Bruins, even if it's like a game that like obviously every Canadians Bruins game's big, but
Right.
they're just going to play him against the Bruins every time.
And of course, what maybe costed you the week, and I mean it did cost you the week, is Kevin Shattenkirk, because we've already talked about out on IR. He had the Blues had 4 games last week. He's good for some serious points there, and he's been so good for the Quickies this year. So not having him definitely an advantage.
Well, see, if he
from
would have made that
Osborne.
trade, he would have had Dennis Weidman, and he would have easily beat you. He would have easily beat you.
He's not going to give this up.
I'm still ears. Don't get me
I
wrong.
still beat you by 60 points.
I'm still ears.
Might have been the record differential
I
on any
I-
game, any matchup this
No,
year.
I'm pretty sure I saw Goodnight Jim Kite lost 100 something to 44.
Yeah, they
Yeah, so-
Jim Kite has had a couple. Yeah.
You also mentioned Devin Dubnyk, who, and this is a guy you picked up off waivers. Is that correct?
Yep.
Recently, he's your week high
The
here.
day he got traded, I picked him up.
20.2 points this week. I think he had a couple shutouts in both of his games. Did he shut out Chicago and Colorado?
I think
Back to back
He has-
shutouts, I thought.
I saw
That's
this
he had a win
today.
last night.
I saw this today on the NHL Network. He's 8-1 with like a 950 save percentage and a 1.3 goals against in like 5 shutouts.
It has to be the
4 or
biggest
5 shutouts.
turnaround for a goalie
ever.
in a team ever.
Yeah.
The team
Yeah, I mean, the
dropping.
Wild were heading south. Now they've won 6 straight. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's-
were like
it's
gonna
been a
fire
heck of a-
Yeo or
Yeah.
Yoey. Is
Yeah.
it Yoey? How do you say?
Yo,
I always
was
forget
gonna say
because
Josh
Yoey,
Yoey
is
and
the
Mike
writer.
Yeo or
Mike Yeo. It's
Yeah.
Mike Yeo.
Mike Yeo.
Mike Yeo.
Yeah,
Mike Yeo.
yeah.
Yo.
Yo.
But so this
Mike Yeo.
matchup, this was a tight one. I was very relieved to come out with the victory. Of course, Ravita would have jumped me in the standings had Quickies been able to pull this one out. So.
Yeah, I didn't even look. I just figured you lost because I didn't think Price was gonna play.
Oilers fans are probably like, where is that Devin Dubnyk for 8 years?
Yeah.
We're not 8
Yeah,
years.
but it's a lot about the team in front of them too.
Yeah.
It's we've mentioned many times.
Before I forget, we have to ask Brent at the end his thoughts on who we feel like is the worst employed goalie in the league and is still consistently employed, Al Montoya.
Yeah, your thoughts on Uncle Al?
Al Montoya.
Like, why is this guy still playing professional hockey?
He's had some good games.
When? Like World Juniors, like 8 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, he plays once. He plays once every 8 games, 9 games, if that.
Where does he even? Is he
He's in
playing
Florida.
for Florida still?
Yeah.
What happened to that Clemenson character? I liked him.
Oh my
I had
god! It
him
looks
on-
like his pads were the worst things I've ever seen in my life. They look like street hockey pads.
Yeah, I always say he looks like a Scott Clemens.
Yeah, he looks like a street hockey goalie.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. It's like, are those certified? Like, can you wear those?
certified.
So I wanted to complain about this one stat this week, and you actually jumped me in this category. So this will be kind of not a very nice stat for you to hear, but make you maybe feel a little bit better about your season. Is Mayonnaise and Instrument has faced the number 1 points against in the league this year. So your opponents have scored the more points against you than against any other team this year, and I'm 2.6 points behind you. Because every one of my matchups seems to be, when I'm getting wins, I'm high scoring and I'm winning by 2 points.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, when am I going to get a break here?
It's not like my team has really had like many bad weeks. There's times when I'm in the middle of the pack in points.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like some teams just like I'll probably play like Goodnight Jim Kite next week and they'll probably score like 200 against me. Like
the Kites.
Yeah.
Good night, Jim Kite.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
It has been a kind of a rough
season's not over yet. I'm making a prediction. I will take the last playoff spot.
Run
the table, and I will be victorious at the end of the year. You heard it here first.
So the Florida Panthers and Brent and Mansfield are making the playoffs.
That is
You
true.
could parlay that into a nice payout.
Yeah, I was
I'll
gonna
tell you
say,
right
what is the odds
now
on that?
that I will give you
This
some.
guy's plus on every single one of those.
I will give you some serious odds for that.
That'll be better than 50 to win
Just something you
250 and the Buccos.
Yeah, I
making
mean,
the
I
playoffs.
basically let you go 50 to win $1,000 if you think that you're going to win the fantasy championship and the Panthers make the playoffs. So just put some thought into it. We don't need an answer now.
To win 50 to win $1,000.
Yeah, that's about the odds. Because
So you're saying 50 for
We
$1,000?
chat about that
To win
before
the
you
cup.
get
To win the
odds
cup.
out?
We don't need to-
Is that what you're saying?
So
right now?
so there's
Brent
one,
has to win it
two,
all, you're saying.
3,
Yeah, I have to win it
4,
all.
5, 6. So in the last 6 weeks, what he needs to basically happen is he needs to win out, and he needs both of you, Boss and Mendelson,
To drop every game.
to drop 4. You both need to go 2 and 4, and he needs to win out for him to make
Both
the
of us.
playoffs. Every
Yeah,
week.
we're both.
Which is
in the
very
same
unlikely.
spot.
Then even if that happens, then he has to beat the 3 teams that ended above him in the regular season, or 2 of the
I mean,
3.
it could happen.
So we're doing 50 to 1,000?
Yeah,
Stranger things have happened.
if you want to do 50 to win 1,000,
What are
we'll
the
shake
odds
on
of
The
it
thing
right
that
here.
would suck is if he wins the championship and the Cats blow it in the last day of the year.
I mean, the Cats are going to make the playoffs. That's another thing just to start
20 to
with.
1.
Yeah, and that's probably I mean,
20
that's probably not enough.
I was going to say that's on the low
Well,
end.
currently the
20
Panthers
to 20 to
projections.
1. Big Brown won the Kentucky Derby at 40 to 1. So, I mean, that's pretty bad.
Wait, 20 to 1 for the Panthers to make the playoffs.
No, I'm saying
Oh,
for both
The
of them.
parlay.
Oh, yeah, 20, yeah.
The double, the dual odds.
I
Sign
agree
off,
with Eric. You
Mendelson?
could probably even bump
There he
that to
goes.
25.
Bazzini.
25 to 1.
All right, so let's
You want to do that?
Yeah.
1,000 for 50?
50 to win 1,000. You have to win the fantasy championship, and the Panthers have to make the playoffs.
Not a
right.
play-in playoff
Let's
game.
wait- let's
They
wait like
actually have
5
to
minutes.
make the playoffs.
All right, he's gonna think
Don't
it
make it
over.
official.
So let's
Bazzini.
jump over now to Mr. Boss's matchup here. It was Bob's Battling Bandits 2.0, Robbie Wright versus Blake Wheeler, Jacob Boss. A game that was pretty high scoring, came down to the wire, and Bob's Battling Bandits gets a much-needed win. The final score, 134.4 to 127.3. Now, this comes with a little asterisk next to it, as Mr. Boss claims that he... Now, did you have a full lineup set all week?
I did.
You did.
But
You want to come in and talk about it?
zero
Yeah, Eric.
acquisitions were made at this point.
No, you can stay.
You can stay.
You're
You can
set.
stay.
No, no.
You can
Oh, you sure? You sure?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I've been in enough.
So you felt that if you were given it a little more attention, you would have given it some matchup
Yep.
acquisitions and would have resulted in a victory for you.
I agree. I was distracted a little bit. Went down to school necessarily.
I don't remember where this belt was.
Went out 2 or
Man
3
has it
nights and kind of put fantasy on the back burner, and it definitely shot me in the back. I kind of probably set my lineup for the whole week, and this is the first time I've looked at it. I think the last time I looked at it was Thursday evening, and then Monday comes around, and I look, and I'll lose by 8 points or whatever it is. 0 acquisitions made. I don't know if Bob's Battling Bandits made any necessarily
It says
acquisitions.
right up. It says
Did we get a knee?
He did. He was active, and I was not.
Do we have?
Speaking of Bob's Battling Bandits being active, he's been very inactive with changing his team picture as he's traded Vladimir Tarasenko, and he's still the team picture. So Bobby, get that fixed up.
Hey,
man.
Bobby, let me tell you something right now.
He's now a member of Talkett's Book Service.
Yeah, you guys.
And we don't appreciate you exploiting our boy like that with your team picture and your losing record.
You should sue him.
There might be a lawsuit coming your way.
Let's finish. You guys can finish talking about this matchup, and then I'm gonna talk to Bob about a possible trade.
Here we go again. And Bob has been on the record saying he's really had enough of your trades.
I saw him on Saturday at later on in Bethel Park after I reffed a couple hockey games.
And did you guys exchange a few words?
We did. I came up. I said, we said, hey, how you doing? A couple of them, and then I said, hey, you gotta start getting on the trade bear. And he said, there's the door. And I said, have a nice evening. And that was it.
He said, there's the door.
And I said, have a nice evening.
So
That's why you're 4-13, Bob.
So let's turn. All right, so back to Boss. Any further thoughts on your matchup here and your season in general while we have you?
Well, pretty disgusted with myself for this win. Obviously, pretty disgusted. Piss poor management. 0 of 7 acquisitions. Losing to a 4-12 Bob's Battling Bandits 2.0. As well as dropping a spot where I could have gained the 4th spot in the standings with Mendelsohn losing.
Yeah, it's
just a horrible situation.
Although I will say, and I think we say it every week on here, at least we have been lately, his lineup is loaded. His previous team name was, how was my team so bad? It's true. I mean, he has 2 of the top 5 scorers in the league, and Sagan, and who else does he have that's really...
Nash.
Yeah, that's the other one. So, I mean, and that lineup's loaded. The fact that he only has 5 wins is baffling.
I think goaltending plays a part, though.
Yeah, goaltending's been a little bit down.
I mean, you got Kari Lettinen in there. He's mediocre. He's one of those goalies. He has his games.
Right, that's fair.
Phil Kessel has just been garbage for the past couple weeks.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, he's just been. He's not going to be in Toronto much longer. That's for sure.
Who wants that contract though?
Oilers.
I mean, somebody will take him that can surround him with talent.
Yeah.
Because he just has nothing there right now.
It's hard to play with Joffrey.
This is the first time he really has like a very strong a nice number 1 goaltender in Bobby Lou. It's the first time he really has a nice strong goalie in Bobby Lou. One of the most elite goaltenders.
Who are you talking about?
Bobby Lou, Roberto Luongo.
I know that. But who are you talking about? Who has a strong goalie?
Bob.
Oh. Robbie's team has Robert Luongo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind. All right, I was confused. One of the most elite goaltenders ever played the game.
Well, that's a little bit little bit of a stretch.
That's all I gotta say. Just
all right.
Pretty piss poor.
No. If you're on the teeter-totter. You're on the hot side.
Let's go.
If you wanted to discuss a couple
trades, I will say I have been getting your trades like everyone else, and
like everyone else.
I honestly
was in a position where I didn't necessarily. I was on like a 4-game win streak.
Yeah.
So I was kind of riding it out, but then I blame myself as a management. Just that's what it comes down to.
I mean, you're on the teeter-totter. I mean, there's a couple guys I would like to offer you that could really help.
What do we got working up here?
You guys will have to talk afterwards.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
after.
We can talk after. Yeah, you might see a couple trades.
I might stir it up a little bit.
How many more matches we have?
All right, so now we're down to
relax.
Yeah, I mean we're in no rush here. I mean if you need to get heading, So we'll welcome Mr. Revito back in as we kind of conclude the podcast here, rounding out the final 3 matchups. You mentioned already the odd man out and good night Jim Kite. This game is a complete blowout.
Yeah, who even
talk about a must win though for Kurt Ott, who was 5-11. Really needs to start stringing together some wins to get back in the playoff talk. He actually texted me last week asking how many teams were accepted into the playoffs. I broke it to him. There's only 4. He's like, oh man. So
well, if you're watching, hey, you might need some players to.
Oh my God.
Once again, it just really does not stop.
Go to Good Night Jim Kite because they have a couple good players that could be on my.
Good night, Jim.
Your chances of getting a hold of somebody on Good Night Jim Kite are like us splitting the atom.
Yeah, you have a better chance of getting hold of the president of the United States. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. And by the way,
And do I ever want to get a hold of the president of the
with-
United States?
You'd probably kill him.
with Goodnight Jim Kite being 3 and
Don't say that. I'll have the
Listen.
secret agency.
With Goodnight Jim Kite being 3 and 14, and the
Yeah.
Shanghai Panthers being 4 and 13, those two teams are not allowed to make any more trades. I do want to look and see
Hey, why is that?
because they're out of a playoff spot. Even if they won out, they're going to only have 9 wins, and the number 4 team has.
Is that on the web? Like you can't physically do that?
No, but I'm just going to veto any.
Oh,
trade.
that's bullshit.
If a team's out of the playoffs, then it's just going to be collusion.
but your veto trade for what was the most ridiculous trade you just made?
With you,
No, the other one. You got
Tarasenko for Subban and Chara.
Oh my God! What a steal! That was disgusting. I vetoed that 10 times if I could. For Chara, that big blob
All right.
that's done nothing this
I
year.
would say you're a little biased.
What? I mean Subban, all right, but I mean Subban.
Exactly. Okay.
I mean Subban's
I rest my case.
Subban's a defenseman though. He's not obviously not going to get as many points
But
as
I do want to look into. Well, we will before the end of this podcast.
Tarasenko.
Look and see when the trade deadline ends, because that's got to be coming up here. You would think pretty soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's this.
So if trades are going to be made, they're going to have to be made probably within the next couple of weeks, if I had to
What
guess.
the fuck? 44 points? Just
Yeah.
Can we just take him out of the league? I'm being serious. Like, what's the
Can we-
point?
can we
he
auction
is
the
out
players?
He is out of the league.
Can we auction the players?
No, but like in a weird way, the last thing you want is like them beating somebody. Like, I mean,
Well,
like,
you know what? No,
Yeah.
if they beat somebody, that person deserves to lose
Yeah,
because
I-
they're not setting a lineup. I've told Ben numerous times, set your fucking lineup. He doesn't want to do it. 44.5 points. I mean, that's got to be the low of the year.
when we got pictures of Talon when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings.
He's not doing well. He looks terrible.
Oh,
Talon, you look terrible.
Talon.
I mean,
Talon hygiene, like
hit the
general,
hit the showers, brother.
general body.
The showers, bro.
General body habitus and
Brother.
hygiene is key. To,
And we are making a trip up there, maybe like this weekend, just to
And
check
we're just
out
gonna we're
the
not
rack
going to
game.
party. We're not going for anything. We're literally just
in and out.
seeing-
20-minute trip.
seeing the sights or site that is this rat cave that they live in. I mean, from all accounts, we could get a mouse from that house to eat on this podcast, without a doubt.
Do you mean to rhyme?
There, you think
Yes,
there's
yeah,
rodents?
yeah.
He's really rhyming right now. He's like Dr. Seuss.
Mouse in a house.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if
do not like them.
whenever if we do make a bet regarding a mouse, we know where to find one. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, you're the only one who's been there, so I
Yeah,
I'm
it's
speaking
not-
from
it's-
Talk about
experience.
this last matchup. I'm trying to think of the worst goalie still employed in the
Okay,
NHL.
all right, yeah. So I said we
Andre
had 3
Pavlov.
left. We actually
Yeah,
only have
he was on my
two
he was on my
left, and
list.
this is the final one. Madonna Audible 95, victorious over the Shanghai Panthers. This was John Zaleski and Colin Fawcett.
Yeah,
The
he
final
needs to
score,
Pack it in.
123.5 to 89. That about does it for the Shanghai Panthers. If he wins out, he can get 10 wins. So if one of these guys win another game, then Fawcett's technically out.
Correct.
So, I mean, he's done. But a 4 straight win for Madonna Audible, and what can you say? This is a contender in the league.
When
We
you have
finally saw some life from Sidney
Crosby, yeah, I was
Crosby
gonna say.
in the game against Calgary, which was good to see. Good to know he has a pulse, although he wasn't able to kind of keep things going the following night against Vancouver.
that was
But,
a pretty poor effort.
Who, Crosby?
you know, between Crosby, Fleury, and Voracek for Madonna Audible, those are the 3 guys that are just carrying this team right now. Fleury, a 20.3-point week. He had 2 shutouts, and he only played in the 2 games. I actually
Right.
thought the Penn should have came back with them.
I
against
thought they were
Vancouver,
going to, yeah.
especially since that game was on Saturday night, and their next game isn't until the following Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, which is going to be a back-to-back, and you can start Grace in one of those games.
Who do they play Thursday? I know is it Wings and
It's
then.
Senators, I believe. I saw today up at on the LA Fitness. They throw up the Penn schedule every once in a while.
Speaking of LA fucking
Well,
fitness,
they have back-to-back Detroit versus Ottawa.
a few notes. Okay. First of all, on televisions, can you show like something substantial or something with like that isn't, hey, like when you're working out, make sure you drink water because that keeps you hydrated. Or like it's unbelievable. Like put something on the fucking television that is like has some resource to it or like some remote entity that can actually like help a fucking human being. Like I don't know, show me SportsCenter or like something like
Fox News.
literally they sit on Fox, definitely not CNN, but like they sit on there and they're like talk about like it's like oh there's a new Beyonce album out today. But it's like it's not even like a show. It's just like a fucking PowerPoint that some jackass made like 3 years ago.
For a college
Yeah,
presentation.
and, like it's like oh make sure you clean up the machines after. Like every human has that common sense in their head. I think. But like yeah, Get something on the television there. Throw in a Penguin game.
I don't disagree with you. The room is absolutely stunned right now from that rant that you just went on. I mean, that was.
Bayless.
Yeah. Ugh.
I mean, tell us how you really feel.
Oh, fucking Aubrey. Don't get me started on her. Although she's now my best friend because I have the membership now. You should have used the smile on her face when I walked in. She was like, "Oh my
You
gosh,
should try to.
You
You should
bought
try to
it.
hook up with her.
Aubrey."
This is,
Grab
of
her
course,
number.
this is the lady that signs us in at the front desk at the South Hills Village LA Fitness. We've had our ups and downs.
We
with
actually
her.
called and complained about it.
Yeah, we don't need to get into it right now.
She's got a wood chipper for a cooter. She's so uptight.
Okay. So I mentioned the 4 straight win from Don Audible. He's up to 12-5, and for the Shaw Panthers, 5 straight losses. Pack it in, Mr. Fawcett, down to
Make a
4
trade.
and
Make a
13.
trade. I've offered you many.
I just got done.
I don't hear shit back from you.
He's not eliminated.
Make a trade. What are you doing, man? You're 4-13. What are you doing?
Well,
Make a trade.
We would have to do some math because he might technically be eliminated.
If it's like he doesn't have points or
Because
something.
if he wins out and they lose out, they
I just don't understand.
Everybody has 10
I just
wins.
don't understand. You're losing consistently and don't want to make a trade. Why? Why you gotta make a trade? I'm not gonna make. I don't want to make that trade. Well, why? Oh, I'm gonna keep losing. I'm gonna keep losing. We'll make a trade. All right. Maybe if you make a trade, you might win a game.
And I do agree with that. If you're not, if you're on the bubble, and I'm not so sure Fawcett is considered on the bubble.
He's off the bubble.
Maybe
The bubbles bursted years ago.
Maybe a team
I've been
like
shocked.
maybe a lower team like Ott, who's got 6 wins, or a team like Boss,
Yeah.
who has 10 but just lost.
Yeah.
You can understand a trade there. So that's all the matchups for this week.
I got the answer for worst goalie still employed in the NHL. I've been thinking. I've been shot again.
He's getting shot.
I'm in the line. I'm in the line of fire right now.
So what are your thoughts here on the worst goalie employed in the league?
All right.
He's dodging Nerf guns here.
I've narrowed it down to 2. Okay, Ben Scrivens
is bad.
and Kari Ramo.
Kari Ramo?
Kari Ramo.
Ahead of Andre Palat?
Pavlik.
Pavlik?
Yeah, Pavlik's better than Ramo.
A blank.
Misfire. Yeah, I mean, Ramo he sucks.
He's dull.
Yeah, he is. He's really
That's
dull.
pretty good.
Yeah, Kari Ramo's pretty bad.
Well, I think Montoya's got to be in that conversation.
Montoya, yeah.
You're not doing your job.
Yeah,
Montoya's not. In that conversation. So,
could you imagine being the coach and saying like, "Okay, we're gonna start Montoya tonight" to the team? The team in the locker room just be like,
"It's gonna be so degrading."
Yeah, it's like coming in and being like Geno Smith is your quarterback. It's like you're either gonna say ink or int as the stat line. Yeah, here comes Montoya tonight, who like. What'd that hit?
My arm.
Oh, I heard like a good like suction cup like sound there, but.
My ball's on the floor.
So, all right. So to kind of round out the podcast here, have you decided, is the $50 to win $1,000 bet something that you may be interested in?
What time is it?
Can
4:28.
All right. No, he can't have too many more left over. We only have so many of this.
54,000. That's too tempting. That's way too tempting.
You have to win the fantasy championship, and the Panthers have to make the playoffs.
But I just feel like the $1,000 to 50 is like, okay, if I lose, it's a $50. Like,
right.
The payoff could be. If this would happen, I probably wouldn't accept the $1,000. Just to say, I couldn't do it.
No,
it was hard enough handing this to $200.
Do a 25. Do a 10 to win 250.
No, because that's not worth. Yeah. The $10 isn't worth anything. 250 is.
Hey, it gets you the Red Robin.
Do 20 then.
20
to win 500. Still $20.
Now the offer on the table is $50 to win a grand.
I'm not doing it.
He's out. Now I've officially become a Florida Panthers fan and a Brent Mansfield is mayonnaise and instrument fan, because I would love nothing more to see you win the championship, see the Panthers make the playoffs, and know that you passed up on a $1,000 bet. So I mean that would be more rewarding than actually winning the bet at this point.
I don't know. It's just my luck with this fantasy thing, and no one wants to make.
I agree.
Yeah. Nobody wants to make a freaking trade. Everyone's boring.
Well, Boss said he's open to talking,
we can talk.
So maybe we see a trade at the end of the day. But
I think we should.
Brent, it's been a pleasure. Brother.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for having me. It's been an honor.
Us.
I'm a big fan. Anytime anytime you need somebody, you know where to call.
Well, I'm sure we'll have you back on at some point before the end of the season. We also want to thank Jake Boss, Sam Mendelson.
Full house here today.
Yeah, great having half the league in the podcast. I mean, that definitely I mean, no doubt this is our biggest podcast in terms of guests, and we might actually add a sixth here as Billy Zaleski making his rounds in the basement here, just pointing at people.
Abs.
And
Here I am.
how you doing, big guy?
Good. I'm on my way out. I'm just signing off. Just want to thank Jake again for being here. His presence means a lot to me.
Always does.
And are you in for the fantasy hockey next year?
I'm in.
He's in. So we'll have a new member next year, maybe 12-team league. We'll see how it opens up. But
He's in and quickly out.
once again, thanks everybody.
I'm actually preparing for this draft next year. I am.
I mean, this has been a blast.
There's been talks about keeping.
Maybe keeping a player or two. We'll have to kind of talk that out.
Who the hell am I
going
to keep? I don't want anybody.
I'll just keep the Sharks. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I figure there's.
But we should
at least one or two.
We should keep a couple players that we drafted.
Yeah,
Or you can take your draft.
Yeah.
Your draft.
Yeah, that's something we're gonna discuss down the line.
We should have a draft lottery.
A decision really doesn't need to be made until next draft. So if that's something everybody wants to do,
Are we doing ESPN again next year?
Why? Which one do you like better?
I don't like that draft layout.
He got all salty.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't know what to do.
Well, now that you've done it once.
Well, fire up a mock.
Yeah. You're able to do mock drafts and kind of see how it sets up. We'll show you at the beginning of next year because
let's take a tutorial or something like that.
As we were talking about last night, Sam said he's only done Yahoo leagues, but I'm not so sure if we could even put a podcast like this on that.
I've done a Yahoo league before.
Yahoo's a little more traditional.
Yeah, I don't really remember. The interface or
I've only done Yahoo myself. If you guys want to do a baseball fantasy league,
I'll be in with you for that. I'm not sure you're going to get the majority of the
league.
I
would be in for baseball, but I would probably be out by July. I'll tell you that right now.
Why?
Just it gets old.
I'll do one with you there, brother. All right, so just to conclude the podcast here are the Week 18 matchups. The Odd Man Out versus Talkett's Book Service. Jonathan Quickies versus Giordano Hart 2015. Goodnight Jim Kite versus Bob's Battling Bandits 2.0. Is Mayonnaise an Instrument versus Madonna Audible 95. And to round out the 5 matchups of Week 18, Blake Wheeler versus the Shaha Panthers.
The stinker of the week is Bob's Battling Bandits against Goodnight Jim Kite.
Just a game that really has no particular meaning to it.
Yote Kane.
But I'll tell you, I take Bob's Battling Bandits minus like 50.5 points. To cover, they'll probably cover that spread against Goodnight Jim Kite.
I don't know.
They'll be lucky to break 50.
We got a couple good matchups here. We got this overrated team over here in the Jonathan Quickies.
Have you seen my roster?
What? It's overrated. And then we have Ravito's team. Ravito's already given him a slap in the face in night 1. More coming your way, buddy.
I'm down 5 points.
Yeah, slap in the face.
Who's my top scorer?
Burns
with 4 points.
I think I tried to get Burns off you.
It probably wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, but
he's already said
Talkett's Book Service, man.
Sharks are untouchable.
That week's already over.
But all right, so let's conclude it now. Thanks everybody for tuning in once again. We'll see you back for Week 18. Have a good week, everybody.
Go Habs, go.
Bye.